Alright, so I wanted to ask this question. It's more of a retrospective for myself, but also for the community as a whole. I wanted to ask the question, why do Spider-Man fans hate Spider-Man? It's a topic that's memed on time and time again, and it's not just a Spider-Man community problem, it's a wider fandom problem. Every community has this issue, but with Spider-Man, I think it's a little easier to understand why people turn on everything. Here's what I mean. It's the same cycle over and over again. Something comes out, we all love it, then we all hate it. Is it because the flaws become more obvious as time goes on? Or is it because we just get consumed by the hype, and once the hype is gone, we're able to reflect easier? Now, I've never been the biggest fan of Marvel Spider-Man 2, but as time goes on, I've noticed more and more people turn on the game. It's to the point where it's becoming okay to criticize it, which is perfectly fine, but now I see people who praised it to no end suddenly turn on it, and we see this with No Way Home as well. So here's why I think this happens a lot. It's all about our idea of Spider-Man. He's been around for a very long time, and we all grew up with the character at different points in our lives. The character keeps changing, but we don't want him to. I'm guilty of this. I absolutely hate techie Spider-Man with a burning passion. I hate it when he has mechanical arms or a techie interface. I hate that he still has money issues, yet he's able to build wacky crazy things with just scraps. But that's because I didn't grow up with that type of Spider-Man. I'm less likely to like something like that because it's not what I like about the character. And as time goes on and the hype dies down, it becomes a lot easier for me to speak out against it. And that's another thing that leads to the perception of the community's turning on something. It's literally hype. When the hype is loud and there's non-stop praise, it's a lot harder to get your negative opinion out because it'll either get vilified or drowned out. This, coupled with the fact that as humans we don't like change, means every community is doomed to hate the next installment after the next installment, never really satisfied with what we get. Until we are. As a community, we always talk about how we all seem to hate the character we love, but we always ignore when a community suddenly starts to like something. A lot of you may not remember this, but Andrew Spider-Man was just as hated as Tom Holland's. The only difference is social media wasn't as loud as it is today. The people who grew up with Tobey absolutely hated Andrew because he wasn't the Spider-Man they knew. He was too different, too brash. Now, over a decade later, Andrew is touted as one of, if not the best person to play Spider-Man. And that's not the only example. The Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon was hated and touted as the worst thing to happen to Spider-Man ever, and now people call it underrated. And the reason for this isn't hype. People just grew up. As time goes on, the people who hated a version of the character will start to disappear, and the ones who grew up with that version and loved it as kids will start to sing its praise. Even something as universally loved as Spectacular Spider-Man, if the show had as much praise as it has now, it wouldn't have gotten cancelled because they'd be selling toys non-stop. And yeah, the reason it got cancelled wasn't just because it didn't make enough money, but I believe had it gotten the same amount of love it gets today, they would have found a way to continue it. Another reason why this cycle happens is that the community will hate whatever the next thing that comes out is, because it won't line up with what we think of Spider-Man. We went from hating Ultimate Spider-Man to hating the next series, Marvel Spider-Man, and then looking at Ultimate Spider-Man and saying, maybe it wasn't as bad as we thought. And I bet you when Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man comes out, and it does things differently with the character, there'll be hype, then we'll hate it and say, at least Marvel Spider-Man got some things right, unlike this show. Then as time goes on, this community will love it and tout it as underrated. So in all, this community is fickle. Just like every community surrounding a subject. I mean, the Star Wars fans are probably more guilty of this than we are. We love something, we hate it, then we love it because we move on to hating the next thing. It's just a cycle of a community, and honestly, it's probably why Marvel Studios and Sony don't listen to us, because as much as we complain, we'll love it in 10 years. And even if we don't, we'll still buy a ticket to watch whatever Spider-Man thing we can because we love the character that much. And yeah, that's all I have to say on the matter. What do you think? Why do we as a community just seem to hate Spider-Man only to love him again? And not just love him again, but also hate the next thing that comes out because we'll love the thing we originally hated. So yeah, I'll see you all next time. Make sure to like and subscribe. At least subscribe. Our goal is to reach 500 subs by the end of the year, and that would be awesome. But either way, like, Don't like, subscribe, don't subscribe. Thank you for your time, and thank you for watching. Oh god, you know how hypocritical it is that I made a video saying why the community hates Spider-Man when I literally made like 2 negative videos on the character that have been my most popular videos?